This video is brought to you by Loot Crate. Head today to lootcrate.com/reviewtechusa and enter the code RTU to save 10% on any subscription plan. Skip it up and that up. So there are a lot of people complaining about The Last of Us for PS4 being $50, and I've complained. Look, I'm just as guilty. I've complained about remasters in the past before too. But one of the developers went on Twitter and he kind of got understandably pissed and defended the price of The Last of Us for PS4. This is what he had to say. The dev is sound designer Robert Krekel. He now works for Sony Santa Monica, but he used to work for Naughty Dog and he worked on The Last of Us. This is what he said on Twitter. People think $50 is too much for The Last of Us Remastered. A ton of work went into it, and it has all the DLC included. $50 is a steal in my opinion. I mean, even if you bought the PS3 version at $30, which if you look on GameStop, it's actually $39.99 used for PS3, The Last of Us, then you have to buy the DLC, you'd be spending $45, which actually you'd be spending $55 if you bought it from GameStop. So okay, he kind of has a point there. So Robomoto co-founder Josh Sway replied to Krekel on Twitter. Robomoto's worked on games like Tony Hawk Ride before, and this is what he said in response to Krekel's tweets. He's agreeing with him. He's just being sarcastic. He writes, it's pretty funny. They didn't just push a make higher res textures and frame rate button. That's all Todd D. Foster does. Todd Foster is one of Naughty Dog's artists. And Krekel replied with, that's probably a lot more complicated than most want to think it is. Would be nice if it was possible, though, meaning if there was some magical button they could push to make remasters just look good without putting any work into them. Look, you guys know my stance from any company, whether it be Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo. I usually feel the same way when they remaster games, make HD versions of the games, or they just make the director's cut version like a few months or even like a year after the original. But like Jason Moore said in the past, I understand why Sony is bringing The Last of Us to the PS4, because a lot of people got the PS4 who didn't have a PS3 in the 7th generation. They're new to PlayStation, or at least they came back to PlayStation due to the PlayStation 4, and they didn't have the opportunity in the past before to play The Last of Us. So I get it. Then on top of it, like I just said, I literally just looked at GameStop to see. GameStop's selling The Last of Us for the PS3 without the DLC for $40. And on top of it, you have to buy the DLC for $15. So you're looking at $55, $5 more, at least when you go to GameStop, then you have to pay for the PS4 version of The Last of Us that includes the downloadable content. So I gotta give Sony and Naughty Dog a pass with this one, because it just, I think it makes the pricing make sense, because this game is going to be new to a lot of people, and if it's a true remaster of the game where it truly looks like a quote-unquote next-gen title, then I think $50 is a steal. I have to agree with the developer of Naughty Dog. I think $50 is a fair price for The Last of Us for the PS4. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Rich of Review Tech USA. Make sure to rate, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for supporting my channel. Have a good one.